Welcome. It's day 4 of Supaweek. We're almost at the end and the crescendo and the finale and the climax. But have we got a good day for you? So over the last 3 days, we've been building an app where we're API first. We have a Supabase backend. We've even mixed in a little bit of OpenAI. Of course, everybody's doing it. And today we're going to take it a whole next step. We're a whole level up. We're going to take that API that you built over the last 3 days and we're going to add monetization using Stripe and a payment page where someone can sort of come in and choose what subscription they want using Vercel. So we're just pulling all of the great things together into one awesome super packed, super week, super day 4. So let's get into it. So here's the day 4 post here from Abdullah. And basically describes what we're going to do. We're going to use Stripe, of course, for payments. We're using Supabase as the backend, as you already know. We got a bit of OpenAI. We've already done that. We're not going to touch that today. And there's this beautiful description of what we're going to do and the lifetime of the request and the policy pipeline. I'll explain that to you as we go through this. But one of the key things to note is that we're going to do a pay-as-you-go model. So we're going to use Stripe metering to charge customers 1 cent or $0.01 per request. You might think that's expensive. You might think that's cheap. It depends on your business. You can change this. This is a very simple example. You can do what you want to do to suit your business model. You can have different meters for different APIs. The code should be fairly self-explanatory and take a look at it. So to get started, we're going to go and create a Stripe account. I'm guessing you probably already have one. I mean, most of you do. So let's see. And we're going to come in here and we're going to actually create a product that's going to be metered. So I come into here, click products. Notice I'm in test mode. You want to be in test mode for this because we're going to use test credit cards. I'm going to add a product. We'll call this, I don't know, pay as you go API. And that's my dash line. Ignore that. We're going to do 0.01. Usage is metered, sum of usage values during period. Yeah, that's good. I think that is all we need right now. You could add some description here if you like, but let's put something in. The awesome blog generator API. Just 1 cent per invocation. Bargain. Okay, let's save that. And then we're going to go back to products again and we're going to go to pricing tables. We're going to add a pricing table now because we're going to use this in our Vercel site. And I need to find a product. We're going to use that one. There we go. I'm not going to include a free trial. I'm feeling a little stingy. Continue. We can just finish with this. And we don't need any of this stuff. It's all going to be built into the Vercel template that we've got that's going to handle this for you. So pretty good. I think we're pretty much done with Stripe for now. Okay. So, yep, this is just guiding me through all that, creating the pricing table, all jolly good. Next step is to add the monetization to Zuplo. Now, there's quite a bit of code we're adding here. We've got modules to call Stripe and policies to call Stripe, etc. So what we've done is we've made it easy for you. You can just deploy, and we've taken your code from day 1, day 2. There wasn't really much code in day 3, and put it into one fresh bundle that you can deploy at the click of a button. So I'm going to click deploy to Zuplo. I'm going to choose the correct account name and this will set up my project. And I'll just have to set up those environment variables again. So bear with me whilst I do that, but we have them all described for us in beautiful detail here in the post. So we'll just go through it and slowly add them up. So let's go and do it. Let's start with OpenAI API key. It's a secret, this one. I go to OpenAI and I will revoke this key before you all use it. I go to my API keys, create a new key. Do it for day 4, create secret key, stop looking. Okay, back here, paste that in, save. 1 down, just 4 to go. Stripe secret key. Okay, so just wait for that to finish saving. Sometimes it can take a little while. Okay, there we go, Stripe secret key. Now, where am I gonna get this from? Well, obviously from Stripe. And what I do is I go to developers, API keys, reveal test key, copy. I will also revoke that. Is secret, yes. Let's save that. And then we've got to do the Supabase URL. So let's paste this in. That's not a secret. So I'm just going to go to app.supabase.com, sign in, blog summarizer, come in here, API, there is my URL. Let's paste that in. That isn't a secret, we can keep that handy. And then the next one we need is the Supabase service role key. So let's go and start creating that. That is a secret, and I get it from the same place, just down here, reveal, copy. Paste that in, save. And we're almost off to the races. That is our Zuplo project set up. And it's the same as the project we had the other day. Get all blogs, post all blogs. The one difference is there's a couple of extra bits of code in here. There's a Stripe code in here that is code that calls the backend. And we also have a request meter policy that we use. If we take a look at the route, for example, I think it's on both. Metered request, as you can see here, metered request. So that's actually telling Zuplo to meter this request and call Stripe. Another thing to note here is that if we look in the stripe.ts code, you'll see that we're using a class here called the batch dispatcher. What that's doing is it's sort of queuing up the meter calls and batching them to Stripe, and that will keep us below the 100 requests per second, I think it is, that Stripe has on the metering API. This probably would reach a scale limit where you'll need to come up with a smarter solution and write to a queue and then batch yourself with an external system. But the scale will be pretty large before you need to do that. You're going to have a lot of nodes running consecutively. So this is a good solution until you get giant. So let's keep going. So the next thing is to deploy the front end using Vercel. So to do that, we just click the deploy button. And I need to create a GitHub repo. I'm going to call this day 4 video. That's actually going to take our code that we've set up for you here, deploy it into a GitHub repo. Now we need to configure. We got to do some more environment variables, unfortunately. We got to configure these guys. So the public Supabase URL, easy peasy. Let's copy that. Then back to Vercel. The Supabase and non key. That is that one. The Stripe secret key, as we know, is in Stripe. Let's copy that. The Zuplo API URL. So that is our project. So if we go in here and we look at project information, we have all this information we can copy. So that's the project URL there. The bucket URL for our API keys, because we'll be creating those dynamically, is this one. Paste that in. And then we need the Zuplo API key. That's to call the ZAPI or the Zuplo API. Then we paste that in there. And then I click deploy. And then we'll be waiting for a little minute because we've got a little bit more configuration to do. But I'll start working on that whilst this deployment is going. Vercel's pretty quick. So set up auth in Supabase. So yeah, we need to tell Supabase where to redirect after we do the auth flow. So typically you would do that by going to authentication here, URL configuration, and pasting this in. I need to wait here for my build to go, so I'm going to speed through time here a little bit. Cool. Okay, it happened. It's live. We're up and running. So let's go and get the URL. I'm going to do that actually just by going to the project here. So great. And then I put that in here. Click save. That should update my Supabase login. So I think let's just go and check the blog post, but I think we're pretty good. Test the web app by subscribing to your API. So I think we're actually good to go. So here we go. Let's go find it. Here is my next step. I'm going to sign in. Now I don't have an account. I'm going to use my josh@zuplo.com email. I'm going to create a password, nice simple one, and I click sign up. And if this is working well, yep, it says check email. So I should have an email now. Let me open this up over here. It's going to take a second usually for it to come in. Okay, so I confirm my user. So I can do josh@zuplo.com. Click sign in. And awesome. We are ready to start using the API. So I'm going to go to my API docs, as it says here. And it hot links me over. And then we'll sign in I'm going to use the josh@zooplo.com email again here. And with a bit of luck, I can see I have an API key, which is awesome. So I'm going to copy that. And actually we'll go and make the call. But first of all, let's just go to our project here and just check how this is working. So you can see inside my project, there's now a subject called josh@zooplo.com. So what happened was when I did that sign-in flow, there was actually a bunch of code running that actually called the Zooplo API and created me an API key that you can see here. It set josh@zooplo.com as the manager. And that means that inside this developer portal, I now have access, self-serve access to my key. I can roll it, I can change it, but I am good to go. So let's go and make some calls. I'm going to cheat here a little bit. I could use curl, but I'm just going to use this. I'm going to do a get. Let's put it in, authorization. Bear in mind, if I try and do this without the key, I'll get a 401 unauthorized. But if I do it with the key, let's do a couple of invocations. Boom, boom, boom. I am now able to get data. That was all beautifully self-serve. I just signed up for a product. And what I'm going to do now is actually go and check on that metering count. So if I come in here, if I refresh this, with a bit of luck, it says you've used 4 requests. So we're actually using the metering. If we go and take a look at Stripe, I think I can see this in customers. There's this is my test customer here. If I click on the price, and then I believe there's a place where I can view usage, and you can see the different calls, units used coming in that we've called the API. So pretty nice. We just created, in not much time, an end-to-end example of an API-first API. We develop a documentation with self-serve API keys that are protected against leaks using GitHub secret scanning, that has rate limiting in place, that has metering via Stripe, so I can actually bill customers. The credit card integration is all in there, etc. Easy peasy. So that's day 4. Come back for day 5. We have another nice treat for you related to all this stuff. Actually, we're just going to add in some extra special Supabase announcement tomorrow, so be sure to come back.